tells me the battery's going to blink any minute. We'll see. How did I know? I just knew. Hello and welcome back. I have been on a bit of a hiatus from making content. If you've seen me before, you can tell I'm in a new location. A lot has happened and life is crazy. We all go through a lot. And I realized I really missed making content, and that's why I'm here. I'm back for more. I want to talk about productivity and FOMO. FOMO. If you don't know what FOMO is, it's fear of missing out. And I used to have FOMO when I was younger. I think a lot of people do. It's common. We want to be part of everything. We want to go to every event and we don't want to feel excluded. And I think with social media, FOMO has become a more common phenomenon, I guess, because we're constantly we're constantly bombarded with all this content that we're seeing online. We're seeing what everybody else is doing, and we're seeing every vacation and every party and every event and all these things that people are doing, and you're keeping up with hundreds of people, sometimes maybe thousands. I don't know. I had to remove myself from a lot of social media. Obviously, I'm still here and posting and trying to create content. It's still something I enjoy, and I do enjoy connecting with people, but at some point it's hard for me to consume because it's just so overwhelming, and we all know we're not meant to keep up with as many people. The human brain isn't designed for that. We can't keep track of all these people and have all these friends. And I'm not saying you can't have a lot of friends, but it's hard to have deep, meaningful friendships when you're keeping up with so many people. And sometimes I feel guilty because I have a lot of friends that I've made throughout my life who I don't keep up with anymore for different reasons. Sometimes it's because maybe we had a falling out or we just got busy doing our own thing. I moved one direction and they moved into a different direction, both physically, moved to a different country, or just their life path just took them on a different journey. And I try not to feel guilty about it because I don't have to be involved in everything. And I think that's what FOMO stems from, right? We feel like I have to be involved in everything. I have to do what everybody else is doing. And that's not only unrealistic, it's also not possible. Like, it's how are you going to be everywhere at once? So my solution my own conclusion that I have drawn on FOMO is that if you want to, this is sounding so wordy already. I have my last day on this set of contacts. If you wear monthlies, you know the struggle once you get to the end. I think there's a smudge or something on this lens. I feel like I can't see. Like, if I close this eye, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see clearly. Tomorrow, I'm on to my new set. Anyway, nobody cares about my contacts. The way I learned to deal with FOMO is simply by telling myself that I will always be missing out on something. That may sound like kind of a negative way to view it, but it's the truth. You're always going to be missing out on something. You're always going to be missing out on a certain event because you can't be everywhere at once. There's always a party going on. There's always an event happening. There's always something going on that you are not going to be a part of. And just learning to accept that and be okay with it is really comforting, because then you realize that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. That helped me tremendously. And it also helped ground me in my own life and where I'm at in my own journey, my own path. Because so often we compare ourselves to others, especially people our own age. Well, this person is way ahead, or this person is doing far worse than me, so I should be happy. You have to, learn to not compare yourself to any of that, to just focus on you, which is so hard to do with social media because we're seeing all this content constantly. But we're seeing highlight reels. Like people say, you're seeing the good stuff. But I want to add to that, you're not really seeing the good stuff. You're seeing the fake stuff. Most of Instagram is curated content. Like it's what am I trying to say? It's created for a certain purpose. It's created to fool people into thinking something that isn't necessarily true. Sometimes it is true. Some people do post very unfiltered, fun content, and I'm not here to shame people. That's not the point. But the point is, people do stage stuff all the time, but you can't fall for it. It's like watching a movie and thinking, I wish I looked like them. It's like, you don't know what they went through to prepare for that role. They may have just dedicated all their time only preparing for that specific role in a movie. So you're comparing yourself to an actor who does that professionally, or whatever it is. We do that. We compare so much, and it kills our own joy. We just feel bored with our own life, our own reality. It's like, my everyday sucks because all I do is get up, get ready, walk my dog, I go to work, and I come home and watch TV. It's like, yeah, but that's a normal routine for most people. Even for people who are doing big, exciting things, the daily routine looks more or less the same. So how can you learn to be more content with that? What can you tweak in your everyday routine that will make it more fun? That's what you have to focus on. If you're not happy, that is. And if you constantly feel like you're comparing yourself and you're missing out, and I'm doing all this stuff that I don't want to be doing. I'm checking my notes because I feel like I'm already going off on tangents. I had the idea. I'm back now. I haven't made content in a while. I was thinking, let's keep it a little short. But I don't know. Do people like listening to someone talk for an hour? I really do not try to go over 30 minutes because I think that at that point you're just like, unless you're listening to someone really interesting or a podcast where you have two people discussing something, but listening to the same person talk for an extended amount of time is like, you know what? Let's move on. Let's watch something else or consume something else. I did write, maybe this isn't really related, but I did say I want to talk about productivity, and I think this kind of ties into that. I have learned, especially over these last few months that I haven't been posting, is I cannot be perfect. I had this idea when I created this podcast almost a year ago now. I think last November. So 11 months ago. This microphone is getting heavy. I need like a little table or something. I can't be perfect. That's where I was going. I can be consistent, but I cannot be perfect. So that's been my focus in what I do, and I try to strive for excellence. That's always my goal. Like, I just recorded this exact episode a couple days ago, and I couldn't get the lighting right, and I'm in a new space, so I'm trying to figure it out. I don't even know if it looks that great right now. I'm about to lose sunlight here in a couple hours, so I'm working with what I got, and it's frustrating for me because I think there's still a part of me that is a perfectionist, and I'm trying to get everything perfect and perfect and perfect. And then I'm like, I can't be perfect. But like I said, I can be consistent in what I do, and I can strive for excellence. And that is my goal. And I think those are different. Perfection isn't real. Plus, perfection, ironically, is subjective. What is perfect? This is like classic Nikki fashion. I don't know. I like to talk about different stuff. It probably doesn't all tie together, but I don't know. I just have these ideas. I'll just be brushing my teeth, or I'm in the shower, I'm on a walk. I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. I got to write that down. And a lot of times I do end up repeating myself. But I think that's part of who I am. I want to be that old person one day. If I live to be an old lady, I want people to look back and be like, oh, Nikki's been saying the same thing since day one. She's been going on about the same thing. No, of course I don't. I want to grow and evolve. That's not what I'm trying to say, that I want to say the same thing, but I do want to say the same things in terms of the basics, right? And I feel like I don't really say anything very controversial. I think I'm a very back to basics kind of person. Just be respectful, focus on your own journey, don't compare yourself to other people, and try to work on you with what you have. I mean, if you listen to a lot of my content, that's really the theme. I don't think I'm ever going to come on here and start yelling about stuff. And although I have those tendencies, I'm human. I feel passionately about things. I get frustrated about what I see on the news, and I get pissed off and all these things like every other person. But there's so much of that content online, and I just get kind of tired of seeing it. So I guess I'm trying to be the change that I would like to see on social media. And because that's what you should be doing, right? If you want something to be different, you should be what it is that you want to see. This I wrote kind of as a note to myself that I've had to learn and still am learning. And I think it could be helpful for a lot of people. Stop punishing behavior. And by that, I mean stop punishing yourself for something you didn't do. If you're trying to create a new habit, it's really difficult. Don't beat yourself up, especially if you're setting really hard goals. If you're like, on Monday, I'm going to start working out for 2 hours a day and eat a salad and drink a gallon of water, all these things that you might not be doing, that's going to be very overwhelming. So don't punish yourself for not doing something. And even if you didn't do something that was quite easy, maybe you set a goal to just read a chapter of a book and you didn't do it for whatever reason. Maybe you ran out of time. Maybe the intention was good, but it didn't happen. Don't beat yourself up for it. And also punishing behavior, what I mean by that is don't punish yourself for not reading a chapter of a book by telling yourself that you're going to read 2 chapters tomorrow. Unless you're able to do that in a positive way, it might work for some people, but for most, I think it just ends up being like you're punishing yourself. And it just sucks. It's not going to help you in the long run. The point is to be consistent, not to be perfect, to have a chapter read every single day. I know there's some challenges like that like the 90-day hard challenge. I don't know. It's called something like that. 90-day hard? Yeah, I think it's called 90-day hard. That's like, if you mess up, you got to start back on day 1. And I'm like, I did try that challenge. And I found that it was too extreme for me. Unrealistic. Working out every day isn't necessary. I train 4 days a week, and that for me is more than enough. I try to do also a day of cardio, which I'm terrible at. And I try to do some yoga as well. But I try to prioritize resting, and some days I don't read. I'm not going to just live my life by the book every day. Like, that's not realistic or fun, I don't think. I did also write, identify what is a punishment. Like overeating, I think, is a common one that it's disguised as a reward, but really you're punishing yourself and your body because you feel like, I'm indulging in my favorite food and I'm eating all this food, it feels good, but really you're hurting yourself because overeating isn't good for you and it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't leave you feeling good or satisfied. So I could obviously go on about that. That's like its own topic, but I obviously preach listening to your body's cues. Eat when you're hungry, stop before you're feel like you're going to throw up, because that's kind to do to your body. That's the kind thing to do. You don't want to punish yourself by overeating. I've been struggling with allergies for what feels like my entire adult life, but especially these last few months, I've been waking up every day sneezing, and then I'm fine for the rest of the day, and then maybe I'll sneeze a couple more times, and then it's just like my nose won't stop running. And I got a cover for my pillow, like a dust mite allergen cover, and it has helped tremendously. I found out when I was in my teens that I have a dust mite allergy, so I know I'm definitely allergic to dust mites. I know I'm also allergic to cats and dogs. I already know that. Even though I haven't been tested for it, I just feel like I'm going to die. I'm like, how can I be allergic to these cute little things? It's not fair. Backtracking a little bit to productivity, since I did say I would talk about that today. One of my favorite tips, quotes, analogies, I don't know what you want to call it, but my dad taught me this when I was young, is that life is like playing tennis. So you hit the ball, and now the ball is in their court. And while the ball is in their court, obviously this isn't quite like playing tennis, you go off and do your thing, you focus until the ball is back in your court. So it's kind of like a half analogy. It's worked for me, though, because I look at a lot of productivity that way. I think about, okay, well, is the ball in my court right now? Yes, it is. This email is in my inbox. I need to take care of it. And then I send the email after I wrote it, and then now it's in their court. Now I have to wait. And I tend to look at a lot of tasks that way. And it seems to help me, I think, because it gives me more sense of control of what I can control, and then releasing the control once I've taken care of my part, and now I'm waiting on somebody else. And I think that also goes hand in hand with learning to delegate tasks, like saying, okay, well, what can I delegate to other people? Can I ask for help? If you're like me, you are terrible at that, because I hate it. I just want to do everything myself and be independent. But I've learned that people in my life want to feel needed. Most people want to feel needed, not just people in my life. People want to feel needed. They want to help you. They don't want to feel exploited. You don't want people to feel like they're doing everything for you and you're asking them for help every day for free and expect them to do all this stuff for you. My computer just locked. Let me unlock, because last time my audio cut off. Okay, no, we're still good. We're still good. What was I saying? This contact is bothering me so much. You know, sometimes it's funny. The tiniest little thing can drive you crazy. Like, like the little pebble in your shoe, or the little hair that keeps going in your face and tickling your face. And for me right now, it's this smudge or whatever it is on my contact lens. Because I think when my vision is messed up, I get dizzy somehow. It kind of gives me a headache, which also kind of makes me nauseous. And I know that's so dramatic coming from this little contact, but it's kind of this ripple effect. It's weird. Again, I kept saying nobody cares about my contact problems. We all have our own problems, and we sit and talk about them like someone else cares, and no one does. Crazy. As I said, I was keeping things short today, and just had a few things I wanted to talk about. Say I'm back. If you have watched any of my previous content, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I always appreciate reading what people have to say about me, or things that I can improve on, or things they'd like to see, or any type of feedback whatsoever is always appreciated. Even if it doesn't feel good, it's always appreciated when people want to help you in some way. Yeah, so I value that. So anything that you think of, feel free to share. Any comments you might have, or something you think I should do. I have a couple ideas for more content that I want to make, but I'm also open to doing like reaction style content. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what you'd like to see. I'd be happy to look into that. As always, take care of yourself. Have a productive and beautiful, peaceful week. And we'll talk soon.